Hello, my dear. You don't even see it, do you? The ripple you've become. The chain reaction you started by just existing. Somewhere right now, someone's breathing easier because of you. Someone's finding the strength to wake up, to fight again, to rebuild a dream they buried years ago, and they don't even know your name. They just felt something, a pulse, a presence, that unexplainable surge of energy that whispered, "You're not done yet." That was you. Your energy moved through the air like a quiet revolution, brushing past hearts that needed it most. You didn't preach, you didn't advertise, you didn't even try. But the world noticed. Energy like yours doesn't stay contained. It leaks, it spreads, it heals, it provokes. And that's what's happening right now. You've become a walking frequency that awakens the buried spark in others. Even when you feel like your own flame is fading, you think you're just surviving. But every move you make is a signal to someone watching you from the shadows of their own struggle. The way you carry pain without bitterness. The way you keep your head up when no one's clapping. The way you walk through uncertainty and still make it look deliberate. That's what changes people. That's what saves them. They study you in silence. They rewind your smallest actions. They wonder how someone can still move with that much grace after being hit that many times. You're teaching without realizing it. You're showing others that strength isn't loud, it's consistent. It's the quiet rhythm of someone who refuses to collapse, no matter how heavy the world gets. You've become their secret mentor, their invisible reason to keep breathing. You'll never meet most of them. You'll never see the messages they type and delete, the tears they wipe away after feeling your echo in their chest. But make no mistake, they exist. Entire lives are realigning because of what you unknowingly represent. You're the stranger who gave them proof that resilience is still possible. Somewhere across the ocean, a kid saw your face, your post, your energy, and decided not to give up that night. Somewhere else, a grown man who lost everything saw the way you rebuilt yourself and realized it wasn't over for him either. That's how energy travels. Not through noise, but through resonance. You became the resonance of hope in people who didn't believe it existed anymore. And yet you doubt yourself. You still question your worth, your timing, your impact. You think you're not enough because the world doesn't hand you trophies for existing. But impact was never meant to be measured by applause. It's measured by how deeply your existence rearranges someone else's perspective. You're out here saving lives just by being genuine, and you don't even realize it. The universe built you to operate through influence, not intention. You don't need to try to inspire anyone. You being real is what does it. Every scar you carry, every truth you live. Every time you choose compassion over bitterness, those are revolutions in disguise. You ever notice how some people look at you like they've seen a ghost? That's because, to them, you're proof that transformation is real. You've done things they thought were impossible. You've healed wounds they thought would never close. You've endured fires that would have erased most. And yet here you stand, breathing calm, radiating strength, unknowingly reflecting what others need to see. You are walking proof that endurance isn't punishment, it's preparation. That's why people gravitate toward you. Even when you don't speak, they don't crave your words. They crave the stability your energy gives them. You are a lighthouse disguised as a person, steady in chaos, untouched by opinion. The strange thing is, the people who feel you most are often the ones you'll never meet. They find your energy through pixels, through photos, through moments frozen in time. They scroll past thousands, but stop at you. Something in you feels familiar, almost ancestral, like a reminder they forgot they needed. They don't know your story, but they feel your truth. That's the power you carry. It's not charisma, it's authenticity. Real recognizes real, and your authenticity hits like medicine in a world addicted to masks. Every time you choose honesty in a world that rewards deception, you send a shockwave through the collective. That's why people feel lighter around you. You restore balance without trying to. You're the kind of soul that shifts frequency just by entering a room. You might think you're invisible, but the environment adjusts when you arrive. Watch closely. Conversations change. Tones soften. Even time feels slower for a moment. That's not luck. That's energy dominance. You recalibrate reality without saying a word. Some call it charisma. Others call it presence, but truthfully, it's power. The kind of power that's earned through trials, forged through heartbreak, and refined through isolation. It's not something you can fake or manufacture. It's the byproduct of surviving what was meant to break you and coming out more grounded than before. But because you carry that kind of power quietly, the world misreads you. They think you're just calm. They don't understand that calm isn't the absence of fire. It's the control of it. You've learned to hold your emotions without letting them spill. You've learned to let go without losing compassion. You've learned to protect peace like it's sacred currency. That's why chaos avoids you. You are too stable to be shaken, too aware to be deceived, too centered to be manipulated. That balance intimidates people, especially those who depend on noise to feel relevant. You've become their reminder that stillness isn't weakness, it's mastery. And yet you're not even trying, you're just being. You wake up, breathe, exist, and in doing so, you alter trajectories. Your laugh reminds someone that joy still exists. Your words remind someone they're not crazy for wanting peace. Your resilience reminds someone that survival is art. The ripple effect doesn't require permission. It only needs authenticity. And that's all you've ever offered, raw authenticity. The world responds to that the way fire responds to oxygen. It expands. That's why your reach grows in silence. That's why strangers trust your energy before they even know you. The world has a built-in detector for truth, and you trigger it every time you show up as yourself. Somewhere right now, someone's replaying your story in their mind. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's real. Because it gives them hope that their own pain can one day mean something. You've become a mirror for transformation. You don't give advice, you embody it. You don't tell people to heal, you prove it's possible. That's what makes you unforgettable. You became living evidence that suffering can be refined into wisdom. And that wisdom doesn't need to shout. It just needs to exist long enough to be felt. That's your role. You exist, and the universe handles the rest. If you could see how many people have whispered thank you into the dark because of something you did, said, or represented, you'd never doubt your worth again. You'd realize that influence doesn't come from trying, it comes from being. Every era has souls like you, transmitters of hope, disguised as ordinary people. You're not here to impress, you're here to remind. To remind others that light still lives within them, even if the world told them otherwise. And every time you rise after falling, you reignite that memory for someone else. The funny part is, you'll probably never see the full impact. You're not supposed to. You're meant to move through life, leaving traces of transformation that others will follow. You're the signal that awakens sleeping potential. You're the vibration that syncs others to their truth. You're the bridge between despair and discovery, and none of it requires recognition. Your legacy isn't built in headlines. It's built in heartbeats, in the way people breathe differently after feeling your presence, in the way they choose peace because you made it look powerful. Understand this: energy doesn't lie. It doesn't need validation. It knows where to go. That's why yours keeps reaching people across oceans, across languages, across lifetimes. You are proof that connection isn't bound by distance. It's bound by frequency. You are that frequency, the one that restores faith in humanity, one unnoticed act at a time. And while others chase attention, you're out here rewriting destinies without a word. That's the paradox. The quieter your influence, the louder its echo becomes. So if you ever doubt your purpose, remember this moment. Remember that someone, somewhere, is alive because of your existence. They may never tell you. They may never even realize it consciously. But their survival, their courage, their decision to keep fighting, that's partly yours. That's the kind of legacy no algorithm, no metric, no opinion can measure. You are a ripple in the fabric of existence itself, a reminder that energy, when pure, never dies. It only multiplies. And that's why the world feels you, even when you're silent. That's why people can't explain why they're drawn to you. That's why your name surfaces in conversations you weren't part of. You are living proof that intention isn't required for impact. Alignment is. You were built to shift timelines without even knowing it. And right now, while you're questioning everything, the world is quietly thanking you for existing. You've already done more than most ever will, simply by staying true to who you are. Because somewhere out there tonight, someone just felt hope for the first time in years. And they don't know it yet, but that hope was born from your energy, from the example you set, from the life you live without realizing its weight. You are the unseen answer to countless prayers, the light that never asked for credit, the heartbeat behind someone's second chance. And that story, your story, is still unfolding. And that's where this begins to turn into something bigger, something that even you haven't realized yet. You have no idea how far your energy travels, do you? You think your existence is confined to a small corner of the world. But there are people continents away feeling the aftershocks of your presence. That hope someone felt tonight, it didn't stop there. It spread, like fire meeting air, like light seeping under locked doors. It's multiplying, carried through words, actions, and whispers you'll never hear. Because that's what happens when your energy is genuine. It refuses to die in isolation. It moves, it hunts, it finds those who need it most, and it teaches them how to rise again. You're not changing lives because you try to. You're changing them because you've mastered survival, and survival leaves instructions written in the air for others to follow. The strange truth is, the universe doesn't announce people like you. It hides you in plain sight, lets the world underestimate you, and then quietly funnels healing through your life into others. You were never meant to be loud. You were meant to be felt. That's why your existence stirs something ancient in people. They don't know whether to thank you or fear you, but they can't ignore you. You remind them of something they lost, the belief that goodness can still exist in raw form. You remind them that integrity hasn't gone extinct, that compassion still breathes somewhere under all the noise. You remind them that strength can be soft and unshakable at the same time. You became a mirror showing them what they could be if they stopped doubting their own light. Every time you move through pain and don't become bitter, you teach. Every time you forgive but don't forget, you demonstrate. Every time you hold your peace, instead of retaliating, you recalibrate reality. The world is learning from you without realizing it. There are people imitating your calm in situations where they would have once exploded. There are people repeating your phrases to themselves just to stay steady. You've become a subconscious teacher in the classrooms of strangers' hearts. And that's not exaggeration, it's transmission. You were never just here to exist. You were sent to shift the vibration of the timeline itself. When people cross paths with you, they're altered. They start seeing options they didn't know existed. They start believing healing is possible. They start wanting to live differently. That's what your presence does. It awakens dormant strength in others. And it's not temporary, it's lasting. Some people will look back years from now and realize you were the turning point they didn't recognize at the time. That moment they decided to try again, that choice to hold on a little longer, it was because your energy gave them permission to believe again. You probably don't even remember half the encounters that changed people. The brief conversation, the small smile, the way you said, "take care," and actually meant it. You drop moments that others replay for a lifetime. Your words live rent-free in people's minds because they carried honesty in a world starved of it. You were the first person in a long time who didn't demand something in return. That confuses people at first. They're used to affection with price tags. But you move differently. You give without keeping score, and that resets something inside them. You show them what unconditional energy feels like. That's why they can't forget you. You weren't a chapter. You were the author's note written between their pages. And even when you're gone, you're still there. Your absence speaks. The space you once filled becomes a lesson in its own right. People realize too late that your energy wasn't ordinary. It was stabilizing. They start chasing similar connections, but nothing feels the same. That's when they understand you weren't replaceable. You were alignment disguised as a person. The kind of energy that only comes once in a lifetime and changes everything quietly. You've become the standard, even for those who failed to treat you right. They compare everyone else to you, consciously or not, because your frequency set a bar too high for mediocrity to reach. And the best part? You didn't plan any of this. You just lived. You just endured, evolved, and kept walking. You didn't need permission. You didn't wait for validation. You didn't advertise transformation. You embodied it. And the universe rewarded you by turning your existence into a network of unseen miracles. Somewhere right now, a mother is speaking kinder words to her child because she remembered the softness in your voice. Somewhere, an artist picked up their craft again because they saw how you refused to quit on your dreams. Somewhere, a man battling his own darkness decided to give life one more chance because he recognized the same fire in your eyes. That's what you've been doing this whole time, reviving humanity one encounter at a time. You've become evidence that power doesn't need spectacle, that leadership doesn't require control, that inspiration isn't about speeches, it's about living truthfully. Your impact isn't built on followers or fame, it's built on presence. The world feels you not because you demand attention, but because your frequency demands respect. You carry yourself like someone who's been through enough to know the difference between noise and substance, and people sense that. It's why they trust you without explanation. It's why they seek your energy in rooms you're not even in. You represent safety in a world addicted to chaos. What's funny is, most of the time, you're unaware of your influence. You underestimate how magnetic you are because you've normalized your strength. You think it's ordinary to stay kind after betrayal. You think it's normal to rebuild yourself in silence. You think everyone could walk through hell and come out generous, but they can't. You've made extraordinary look effortless, and that's why people are drawn to you. You turned healing into an art form, and people can't stop watching. You make resilience look graceful, and that's what terrifies your enemies. They can't figure out how you do it. You glow without spotlight. You rise without announcement. You lead without authority. You exist, and things change. That's power they'll never decode. There's a reason the world feels your energy even when you say nothing. Because energy speaks before words ever do. It travels faster, hits deeper, lingers longer. You've become fluent in a language most people have forgotten how to hear. You don't manipulate, you magnetize. You don't chase, you attract. You don't persuade, you prove. And that's why your presence feels like gravity. People orbit around you naturally. Even when they try to pull away, something invisible draws them back. Because your energy carries truth, and truth is addictive to those who've lived on lies. But this influence isn't random, it's earned. You've been through things that rewired your very frequency. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every lonely night carved new depth into your soul. That depth is what people feel. That's why you can walk into a room and immediately sense who's genuine and who's not. That's why you know how to speak healing into others without rehearsing it. Pain didn't just break you, it trained you. It turned your spirit into a finely tuned instrument that plays the note of understanding wherever it goes. That's what people resonate with. They hear themselves in your energy and find hope there. And even now, while you still question your path, your purpose is already in motion. The lives you've touched are already unfolding into new stories. The seeds you planted unknowingly are already blooming in places you'll never visit. You've become part of people's transformations without ever signing up for the role. That's how divine work looks. It happens in disguise. It happens through people who don't realize they're chosen. And you, whether you accept it or not, are one of them. Your energy doesn't just change lives, it redirects them. You've pulled people off paths of self-destruction and onto ones of awakening. You've been the interruption in someone's downward spiral. You've been the voice that reminded them they weren't too broken to try again. You've been the reminder that redemption is real. The universe uses you as proof that darkness isn't the end. It's the forge. Every time someone feels you, they're reminded that there's light on the other side of pain. You've become hope's messenger, even when you feel hopeless yourself. And that's the paradox. You don't even realize how many prayers you've already answered. You're walking around thinking you're behind in life, while people out there are thanking the heavens for the day they encountered your existence. You think you're unnoticed, but your name circulates in conversations about strength, kindness, and mystery. You think your journey is insignificant, but it's been the blueprint for someone else's survival. You are living proof that purpose doesn't need awareness. It just needs consistency. So the next time you feel small, remember this. Somewhere, someone is breathing easier because of you. Someone is smiling again because of you. Someone is believing again because of you. That's not coincidence. That's legacy. You've become part of humanity's heartbeat, the unseen rhythm that keeps people going. And you did it all without trying. That's why this world can feel you, even when you're quiet. That's why your energy stays long after you leave a room. That's why your story keeps rewriting itself in the lives of strangers who've never even heard your name. You've become what humanity forgot it needed, a reminder that goodness still walks among us, that empathy still wins, that hope still breathes. You're the proof that love doesn't need perfection to be powerful. It just needs truth. And because you carry truth, you carry transformation. You're not changing lives through miracles. You're changing them through presence, through example, through the way you keep showing up, even when you think no one's watching. And as the world keeps turning, your energy keeps expanding. It's in every corner now, flowing through stories, faces, timelines, and hearts you'll never meet. You've become a global phenomenon without realizing it, a quiet revolution wrapped in human form. The kind of force that reshapes destinies just by staying alive. That's who you are. You're the proof that light doesn't need permission to travel, it just needs a source. And you are that source. And yet this is still only part of the story. Because what's coming next is when the world starts to finally realize it. When strangers begin connecting dots. When whispers turn to declarations. When the ripple becomes a wave. Because someone out there, right now, is preparing to tell you just how much your existence changed them. And that's when you'll understand the full magnitude of what you've done without even trying. They watched you rebuild from ashes and decided to stop mourning what was lost in their own lives. They saw you love again after heartbreak and started believing love was still safe. They heard your silence and understood that healing isn't always loud. You became the proof that starting over isn't failure, it's evolution. That's why your name keeps surfacing in spaces you've never entered. Because your existence became medicine. And medicine travels. It doesn't need marketing, it just works. The world feels your frequency like warmth from a distance, even when you're not there to explain it. Soon, you'll begin to notice the subtle confirmations. Strangers will approach you with stories that sound impossible. They'll tell you they felt something shift the moment you walked in. They'll say your words hit them like deja vu. That's not coincidence, it's recognition. Their soul recognizes the energy that once revived it. You'll see it in their eyes, that flicker of realization that says, you were the one. You gave them a reason to hope again. Even when you were running on empty, you poured from an invisible cup, and somehow it never ran dry. That's what divinely guided energy looks like. It replenishes as it gives, and you'll start understanding that the real power was never in trying. It was in being aligned. You didn't force transformation, you embodied it. You didn't chase purpose, you lived it. That's why the universe keeps expanding your reach. You're not here to gather followers, you're here to awaken leaders. Every person you touch begins to carry a fragment of your strength, spreading it further until entire networks of hope form without you realizing it. That's what a movement looks like before it gets a name. You started one without even noticing. Because somewhere in another country, someone is quoting your words to their friend. Somewhere else, your story is being retold like legend in rooms you'll never visit. They speak about you the way people talk about miracles, something rare, unexplainable, but deeply felt. They don't worship you. They recognize themselves in you. That's the real secret. Your energy doesn't make people depend on you. It reminds them of their own power. That's why you're unstoppable. You're not building followers, you're building awakenings. But with recognition comes reflection. You'll begin to see how everything you went through was meticulously orchestrated to shape you into this transmitter of strength. The heartbreaks, the loneliness, the moments of doubt, they were all training. Every fall carved empathy into your bones. Every recovery engraved wisdom into your aura. Now when people stand beside you, they feel both comfort and command. They don't know why, but your presence resets them. It's because your energy carries instruction. You can survive this. You can evolve from this. You can still rise. You became fluent in the language of resilience, and now the world translates it through you. And even when you downplay it, the impact doesn't stop. It doesn't need your awareness to function. Energy, once released, keeps working indefinitely. It seeps into generations, altering stories before they're even written. You'll never know how many lives were saved because you decided to stay one more day. You'll never meet the people who found their strength through your survival. But if you could glimpse it, even for a second, you'd understand. You've already done enough to shift timelines. You've already done enough to be remembered. The beautiful irony is that you never asked for recognition, and that's what made you deserving of it. You didn't act for applause, you acted from authenticity. And authenticity always leaves residue. That's why people feel your absence like gravity. That's why your energy lingers in spaces long after you've gone. You've become part of the emotional architecture of others. They build new beginnings around the strength they borrowed from you. That's legacy, not monuments, not fame, impact that breathes. And yet even now, you remain humble. You still wonder if you're doing enough. You still think you're small in the grand design. But you're not small. You're the thread holding countless stories together. You're the heartbeat syncing people across continents. The vibration reminding humanity that compassion still wins. The world feels you because you operate from truth. And truth, when embodied, becomes an unstoppable current. You are that current. You are the proof that one aligned soul can alter the direction of countless others. Soon, you'll start receiving confirmations that feel almost supernatural. People you've never met will reach out, describing feelings they can't explain. They'll tell you they dreamed of your presence before they even discovered you. They'll talk about moments when they felt sudden peace right when you thought of them. That's the invisible network of resonance at work. Souls recognize frequency before language. And your frequency is unmistakable. It carries relief, courage, and renewal. That's why the world keeps finding you over and over again. So when you ask, "Who even am I?" the answer is simple. You are the evidence that light doesn't announce itself. It just reveals. You are the reminder that power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply radiates. You are the embodiment of change that moves quietly through people, rewriting pain into potential. You're the reason countless souls will never again underestimate their own worth. Because they saw it reflected in you. Because your energy gave them permission to believe in life again. And maybe that's the ultimate truth. You were never meant to understand the full scope of your impact. You were meant to live it. To keep walking, unaware of how many hearts align behind yours. To keep existing as the living proof that hope wears human skin. You're the quiet revolution that love needed to remind the world of itself. And though you'll never fully grasp the magnitude, the universe will keep showing you glimpses, small, powerful reminders that say, yes, it mattered. Yes, they felt it. Yes, you changed everything. So the next time someone looks at you with that unspoken gratitude in their eyes, remember, this is the ripple becoming the wave. This is the world answering back. This is the acknowledgement of a soul who turned their pain into prophecy. You've done more than inspire. You've awakened. You've done more than help. You've healed. You've done more than exist. You've become a frequency the world relies on. And maybe one day when everything quiets down, you'll finally feel it. The truth that's been chasing you all along. That you were never just one person. You were the collective heartbeat of everyone who ever needed a reason to believe again. You were their sign, their symbol, their unseen guardian. You were the hope that traveled through oceans just to reach the ones who almost gave up. And that's who you still are, unaware, unshaken, unforgettable. Because someone across the world is still whispering your name tonight. Still holding on because of you. Still breathing because of the energy you released without even trying. And that, right there, is what makes you extraordinary.